You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, The 100-Year Lifestyle, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Passive Practice Profits, BrainTap Technology, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, Chiro Pro Accounting, A-Line, and Midwest Brain Health Technology. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 283 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I am your co-host Luke Millette, and here's your host Jim Chester.
So today we have the honor of interviewing Melody Watts, and if you want to hear more about business building in the chiropractic world and vitalistic living, stay tuned. All right, welcome to another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm really looking forward to this interview. It's episode 283. We have Melody Watts on with us, and I think, you're going to really open the vault to people today for knowledge on growing business and scaling business. But before we jump into this interview, I just want to welcome you onto our show again.
Thank you. It's so fun to be here. You guys are just awesome.
Thank you.
So as per fashion of Chiro Hustle, we like to always get a little background story on people, but we've already done some great interviews with you. So I think we're just going to transition this episode a little bit more to the business modeling. And I know one of the things we were talking about offline recently was how to convert offline business into online customers. And I think a lot of people are really curious about this because some people are looking for leads and they're looking how to lead gen and looking how to build the business. But what's your take on taking people from offline business and turn them onto online customers?
Well, it's really interesting because I've got about 22 years business in chiropractic. And during that time, I really learned what makes a practice really scale and grow. And I learned the marketing, I learned the patient experience, I learned all the ins and outs of really running a health-based chiropractic business, which is why then I started my own consulting business at the time. And then, of course, that transitioned into supplement sales and health coaching and doTERRA and some other things. And so my background is really scaling businesses from multiple 6 figures a year to getting to 7 figures. And so, and also, reducing overhead. So I'm all about building wealth for health entrepreneurs. That's my big thing. I want to help you do that. And so one of the things that we talk about is, a lot of people have built their businesses brick and mortar offline, right? So how do we convert that to it also making money while we sleep digitally? And I think there's confusion. A lot of people think they need to build this huge online health brand and content and, all these things, social media and that kind of thing. But actually, what they actually need to do is they need to start with their brick and mortar customers. And they need to learn how to convert them into getting in front of these customers, not just in the office, but in their inboxes and in their cell phones. And so how they do that is by not just selling the chiropractic adjustment, right, where they're having to be there to make money, but we're also selling the mindset and the knowledge that you learned in this whole chiropractic journey. So I remember talking to a good friend of mine, Russell Brunson. Some of you guys might know him. He's actually lives in my neighborhood. He's probably about a mile away from me. And I remember him telling me this story. He was creating this Olympic wrestling team. At one point on this stream, he wanted to build this Olympic wrestling team. And, instead he built ClickFunnels. But point being is they were getting adjusted after they were getting adjusted, right? He was believes in chiropractic. And one day the chiropractor couldn't make it. And so one of the wrestlers was like, it can't be that hard. Let's look it up on YouTube, how to do a chiropractic adjustment. Literally, the guy looks it up, adjusts everyone. Okay. And then Russell tells this chiropractor, it's okay. So-and-so looked it up, learned how to do a chiropractic adjustment, and he adjusted us all. It was great. And the chiropractor was livid. I mean, livid. He was like, what in the world do you think you're doing? You could have done this and this and this. And he's like, well, listen, he was like, tell me what you guys learned in chiropractic school besides adjust. Is that all you learned? And he's like, no, we learned about nutrition and this. And he's still super mad, right? We learned about all these things, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, why are you not selling that also? right? Like, and I remember my chiropractic telling me anyone can learn how to adjust. He's like, it's actually the mindset and the intent, right, behind what you're doing for this person. It's the mindset and intent. How are we empowering them, right? We're not just cracking bones. We're actually turning on people's power, and we're giving them the mindset that they're not succumb to a sentence of sick care system. And so how do we get in people's minds? We do that through email, through text, potentially through content at some point. But let's start with making sure that you're not just selling the adjustment, that you're also selling the mindset, because that's what creates lifelong customers. And that's what actually creates an empowered human. And so that's what we're trying to do. So how do you convert your business from offline to online? You start getting your lists, your email lists, your text lists, and creating community. Now, whether that's on Facebook or Telegram or whatever, you need to start creating community with your people you already have the closest relationships with, and you build raving fans in that community. It doesn't need to be like this crazy large following. It can just be the people that you've worked so hard to have influence over, that you've worked so hard to market to get them into your office already. Like, those are the people that you need to really go in and transform their lives, not just through the adjustment, but through their mindset and through their healthy living and selling information, and also selling supplements and essential oils and things that can give you long-term residual income as well. Because if you're just selling the adjustment, then you're replaceable potentially, right? But people want the mindset. They want the philosophy. They want the philosophy of chiropractic. That is what inspires people. If you want to move mountains, you have to learn how to move people, right? Not just their bones, but their minds. And that's why it's so important that people are doing this, that chiropractors are doing this, that they're not just like, I'm just going to be I'm just going to adjust in my office. No, you want to relationship build with your patients, create raving fans, and build your database. So that's how we do it. We don't have to do it by doing a bunch of content, right? Just a simple newsletter, getting in their minds, getting in front of them, and letting them hear your voice and letting them hear that content that all the knowledge that you've learned over the last however long you've been involved in chiropractic. This is what they need to hear. So because right now they're being brainwashed with mainstream media, we want to intersect that. We want to cut that off and actually feed them with truth. And that's what's going to create your online business right there.
So what would you say is like the most overlooked asset that maybe all businesses have in their collection, but they just forgot about it, or they overlooked it, or they don't even know to use it?
People just don't realize that their database is their most overlooked asset. So the customers and relationship that they've already built, this is their biggest asset. And some people will say, I don't know anybody, or I want to keep an arm's length distance from my patients or whatever. It's like, no, you take that database. If you have 1,000 customers in your database, or 2,000 or 6,000, I know some chiropractors that they've seen 6,000, new people over the last however many years they've been in practice. That database is the database that you want to start relationship building with, getting in their minds, getting on their screens, getting in their email, getting in their inbox, getting in their text messages. That is actually how you start to build your online businesses, through this database. So it's very similar to the first one that we talked about. Is you just are taking everything that's in your mind and you're starting to tell the story more often and getting in front of your database that already knows, likes, and trusts you. So it's your database. People think you have to create like a social media following from scratch. That's like starting a practice from scratch. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of marketing. It's a lot of content creation. It's like, no, get on your phone and start networking with people that already know, like, and trust you.
Yeah, Melody, I always tell people that they work with others that they know, love, and trust. And if they've already come in and become one of your patients before, that's a direct link where you've actually had an encounter with these people before. So remarketing to them for second offers or third offers or fourth offers, you're already taking a warm audience, or a hot audience, even depends on how long it's been since they've been in to see you. And you're offering them something else to think about that they might want to include into their healthy habits, and that they might want to include into their family, like life balance. And so many people just don't know, honestly, I've had this conversation multiple times, is most people just don't do anything and they stay stagnant or don't take action because they don't know what to do. They don't have good solutions for their problems, and they don't know where to go to for resources and to connect with people that they've actually trusted for their health advice. And I think that when you already like have this database, like you said, and you're connected with people from all walks of life that are all in your community, that have all come into your office, I think that that is like really the golden contact list that most people will probably overlook. And that database is like in their EHR. They can probably set up systems to send messages through text message to that list. They can probably set up systems to email to that list. They can probably set up a patient appreciation day or a workshop day that they can reach out to this list and start to get people back in the doors as well, and reactivate these people not only for second opportunity business measures, but also say, hey, come in and get rechecked again. It's been a long time. And absolutely. I think that they just don't realize that those are like real keys to business growth, is turning people that have been connected to the brand and to the location into a reactivation customer or a second stream of income customer with, like you teach people how to do, is implement doTERRA and essential oils into their businesses. So I think that you're spot on when it comes to where is the real gold in a business. It's the database.
Absolutely.
So just to get people at home kind of thinking about this now, what would you say are the top sources they should stop and go check, like right now? Like email lists, cell phone contacts?
I would say email and text is still king. It's the one thing that you have control over. I think building community is really important. Whether you're doing that on Facebook or potentially like a Telegram channel, creating community where people are starting to congregate, because when you create community, that's when you really start to scale your business, creating community. And so text and email is great, but when people start to feel connected in the same mindset, they don't feel alone. They start to feel like that human connection is so important. The pandemic, I'll tell you what, the pandemic did everything they could to get people to not connect. It caused depression in amounts that people never imagined. Even myself, being able to miss a lot of the seminars that I go to, a lot of the retreats that I go to, they went online, which was convenient. But this summer, I finally went to my first real in-person big event with other doTERRA leaders of my caliber. And I'll tell you what, it was transformative. I had no idea how much it was affecting my mood, my mindset, my vibe, everything, because I wasn't connecting with people at a human level. So creating community is really that next step within your sphere of influence. Is yes, email. I think we need to start with email. Email is still king. And then getting in their text box, that's an important thing. So if you've got cell phone numbers, creating an opt-in, creating a service where you can connect with people. And those text messages should be redirecting people to go look at your content, to go read something, to go to your Telegram channel. It should always have a tip or a hello, what are you up to? Come see me over here, right? And so you want to be directing them to community.
Do you think people could be harvesting like Facebook friends or followers or like page group members as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I recommend that if you're starting from scratch, that you start with one or two things at a time, because if you start splitting your focus behind, every single social media channel out there, you're going to get really overwhelmed. And when you dilute your focus, you dilute your power. So you need to pick one or two really specific things that you can look at nurturing and creating so that they start off strong, and then go, okay, could we reach out now to YouTube? That now that we've got our Telegram group going or our Facebook group going, can I now start putting a few videos, on YouTube or Rumble or whatever it is that you want to house, health information being censored. You might look at some of these alternative places to create community like Telegram and Rumble. And I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that. Facebook is still the number one place where people are hanging out. So just kind of look where you've already created. If you haven't created any content at all or any groups at all, then you might consider starting with like a Facebook and a Rumble or something. What would you recommend, Jim?
Well, I don't think people have to thrive on huge lists, but I do think that anytime you do have like a specific list of friends on Facebook, those people want to hear from you too. And I think a lot of times people don't realize how actually golden the opportunity to have Facebook Messenger is as well. And that people that you connect with, they check those messages and it's going directly to them.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a hybrid of email and text.
Mm-hmm.
And these people know who you are and they can get a real-time snapshot about who you are if they haven't seen you in a while. So I think it's also, they can visit your page and they're like, oh yeah, it's Jim. I haven't seen him in like 6 months. Like,
yeah.
awesome.
Come see my latest Facebook post or my Facebook Live where I talk about 3 things you can do to boost your immune system right now. You know, getting them to consume your content.
I think really the golden list, like you mentioned earlier, is the email database, but also the people that you have in your contacts you can text to. The EHRs at clinics, I think, are huge for people to have access to that list that have a brick and mortar like that. And I also think that your Facebook friends list that are on Messenger, those are just so real value, like connections to you. Like, you know, we talk about 6 degrees of separation. Well, this is like, you know, direct contact. And these people know you, and you've had some interaction with them in the past. So it makes sense for people to rekindle relationships through Messenger as well. And I know that as long as you're not going in with a real crummy sales pitch and you've never met these people before, I don't recommend that as an approach to like build your business. But if these people are on your friends list and you've made touch with them sometime in your friendship, they would be more than happy to probably hear back from you. Mm-hmm. So I think people should probably, you know, set a strategy aside to restoke their email or their Facebook Messenger friends. And I'm not sure about Rumble or Telegram. I haven't jumped on those yet, but it sounds like you've had some experience with those. So
it's more uncensored content. Right.
Gotcha.
So like if you look at a lot of these influencers like Dr. Seth, how do you say his last name? Gaylorch. He's been booted off Instagram, 100,000 followers. He's been booted off, 3 different accounts. But because he had his email list and because he has his Telegram channel, he was able to reconnect and quickly recoup them back on Instagram. So these people are, they're trying to destroy your ability to communicate the truth about health and wellness, the powers that be. And for whatever reason, they want people really reliant on a sick care system, because when people are sick and disempowered, that is where they make the most money and that's where they have the most control. So having a couple of alternative channels, at least one, where you've got people's emails and you potentially have a place for them to go to, so that if you do get booted off, Facebook or Instagram for whatever reason, I mean, gosh, Dr. Josh Axe, I work really closely with him. He's a business coach of mine, and he has 3 million followers. His account got booted off of Facebook. They were able to restore it, but it was because of somebody that he associated with shared something about oregano, essential oil, and I can't even say what it is because I don't want this to get censored, but it was a health concern. And it wasn't even something Josh posted. But because they connected him with this person that was putting out a lot of content that they didn't like, they disengaged his page. But, so I think it's important that you have a backup, that you have an email list, and that you are nurturing relationships so people can find you if, heaven forbid, something like that were to happen on Instagram or Facebook. So while these are the channels where most people are hanging out right now, you've got to have those backups. You got to have a way to connect with people outside of that.
It's good to know. You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, The 100-Year Lifestyle, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Passive Practice Profits, BrainTap Technology, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, Chiro Pro Accounting, A-Line, and Midwest Brain Health Technology. Let's hustle.
So ultimately, at the end of the day, what does it really take to scale your business to the next level?
So to scale your business to the next level, you have to grow a team. That's just what it takes. If you want to, go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together with people. It's like this African proverb, but basically you have to find the right people, the who, that are going to help you take your business to the next level. So if you're bad at social media, find the who. Find the person that's really good at it, that they match with your core vision, that your core values, that they have the same way, that they think the same way that you do, that they're on the same mission as you, the grassroots mission of health and wellness, right? And also building wealth. Make sure that they have some of those same core values. You want to find people that are good at what you're not good at, right? And so as you do that, you start to expand your influence and expand your impact. In doTERRA, we look for people and partners that have our same core values, that want to spread the message of empowered plant-based solutions, and that are also looking for residual income, that are also looking to build wealth. And so when we are partnering doTERRA, it's no different than when you're partnering with people to grow your message in your business. The difference is within an affiliate type marketing like doTERRA, it scales very, very quickly because of the business and the compensation model. And so we always, talk about sometimes it can take you 40 years to build something, and in doTERRA it could take you 5 years because of the nature of finding the right people that are going to connect and be on the same level as you. So finding the who, one of the things that Dave Ramsey talked about, he says, whatever time you're spending right now hiring, quadruple it. Like whatever time, like the time you spend looking for the right people, right? To join your team, your vision, quadruple that time. So like for me, I spend 75% of my time looking for world changers that are on the same mission as I am. Okay. That's what I do. I spend 75% of my time on calls to help people scale their business to the next level and bring in doTERRA as a residual income stream. That's where I spend 75% of my time. The other 25% of it is creating content, connecting with my customers, all that kind of good stuff, supporting them, educating them, that kind of thing.
What would you say is the best way to go about finding the right teammates?
So this is all about having a clear vision. And this is something Josh Axe taught me as well. He says, when he's looking for a copywriter, he's not necessarily putting an ad out there. He's talking to the most influential people and he's saying, who's the best copywriter that you know? Like, that's where you find a good copywriter. So it's not necessarily the person that's out of work, right? It's like, so you find the who by networking with the right people that are influential. Russell Brunson talks about this in his, thing. He talks about what I wish I would have known in my 20s. And he talks about, the people that you hang out with, those are the people you're going to become the most like, the top 5. You're the sum of the top 5 people you hang out with. So if you find that your circle is not inspiring you, it's not a circle, it's a cage, right? So like find a circle that inspires you, that helps you get to the next level. And that is how you find the who. Right? That is how you are attracted to the who. And it's really the magnetic energy that you're putting out. It's actually a physical magnetic energy vibration that you put out is exactly what you attract into your life. So I always tell people, whatever your life is right now, whatever you're manifesting in your life right now, that is the vibe you're putting out. So if it's struggle, if it's frustration, if it's my money problems, if it's, I can't figure out how to scale my business, it is all 100% your vibration. So if you want to flip that, you have to flip the script. You have to change the way that you think about business, health, and how you grow teams. So if you think to yourself, in order to grow a big team, I have to create all this content. I have to be awesome on social media. I have to this, that, and that. And then you're completely overlooking the fact that you have a database and you spent a decade building relationships with patients. You're completely missing the boat, right?
So this is a quick question I just came up with. What are the top 3 mistakes that business owners are typically making?
I think one of the big mistakes is not delegating enough and not staying in their lane, their zone of genius. So feeling like they have to do everything, like you have to know enough about something in order to be able to hire the right person, right? But at some point you have to be willing to let go of certain things so that you can focus on your zone of genius. Right. So like my zone of genius is not creating graphics and content. So letting go of the reins and hiring competent people to do it is what I've had to do. Does it always work out? No, you have to go and manifest that right person. You have to find the right who, and sometimes you fail and stumble along the way. But ultimately, if you don't let go of that control, if you don't relinquish that control to somebody who that's their gift, that's what they shine doing, then you can't grow. You're going to stay in this cage. So I would say the number one mistake is that you spend too much time working on things that are not in your zone of genius and not enough time focusing on what you're good at. So if people could just write down like their top 3 things, like these are my zone of genius, this is what I'm passionate about, and this is actually what I'm gifted at. Like you should be spending 90% of your time doing those things, right? Let's see, another top mistake I think people make is I think they don't make enough time for quality relationships. So if you look at the difference between like a 6-figure earner and a 7-figure earner, the biggest difference is how important they make people feel in their presence. So like, how important do you make your spouse feel, your partner, your kids, your business partners? How important do they feel when they're around you? This is a big thing. And I would say the third one is probably ego. Just, making sure that as you grow and as you scale, that you keep your vision and your eye on the prize. And the prize is to serve humanity using your greatest gifts. And so if you're focused on how big can I grow, how many people can I use to get, at the lowest possible price, like you're thinking all these kind of things, then your heart isn't in the right place. And you're more focused on yourself and your own gratification and your own, money or wealth that you're building rather than serving humanity. And so, yes, be proud of like what you can accomplish, but at the same time, make sure that you don't let your ego get to you, because that's the quickest way to like repel people and get them to not want to work with you and not follow you. Because eventually when you're like living large, who you are comes out. Like who you are is eventually going to come out, right? And so, how do you stay humble? How do you keep from letting ego take over? You got to stay really rooted in your God-given vision, your purpose, and your connection to the divine. I do a lot of scripture. I do a lot of prayer. I do a lot of meditation. And I make sure that I'm checking myself on that level. Am I making people feel important around me? Am I making my kids feel like they're the most important thing to me no matter what I'm doing? Do they have that quality time? Does my spouse feel appreciated? Does he feel like I pour into him? And if he's not, am I checking in with you? Hey, how can I, serve you more today? What can I do to make your life easier today? Whatever it is, making sure that you're not just so focused on your business and what you're doing that you forget about the quality of relationships and what really matters around you.
I think there's so much gold there when it just comes to teaching people like the ropes of business and mindset and relationship. I think so many times people think that they've made it in this world, and then they stop paying attention to those relationships. Like you said, you really want to see how somebody's behavior is, put an extra $100,000 in their pocket, and then you'll really see who they are. Yeah. And I think that you always have to really consider that as not letting the money change your relationships, but amplify the relationship to improve better. Yeah. Instead of pulling away from great quality relationships because now you feel like you made it. Mm-hmm. And, I think that's one of the things when it comes to an entrepreneur figuring out that their database is their gold, or their Facebook Messenger is their gold, or their text messaging is their gold. Well, when they turn that connection into up level, like business opportunities, they also have to, like you said, remain humble within that advancement of ego. And when the ego advances with that bank account, you have to keep yourself on the straight and narrow and make sure that you're, constantly checking in with your spirituality and checking in with your family and checking in with your, best friends and checking in with your, business associates and making sure that you're still on the same page with them and you haven't like ego grown to the point where nobody wants to deal with you anymore. So
yeah. And you can't pour from an empty cup. So like, it's so important that you do have that time to yourself for meditation, prayer, and exercise. And, what are you feeding your body?
Mm-hmm.
So as we start to wind down with this interview, why don't we kind of recap what you're doing in case people don't know or people forgot. Tell us what you're doing with Passive Practice Profits and how it's helping business owners and entrepreneurs.
Well, what's really cool about Passive Practice Profits is it's not a second business that people have to look at. It's not a side hustle, if you will. What we've done is we've created systems that are very easy implemented into what they're already doing. So if you're talking about toxins already, but you're not selling a product on side of that, then we've got the perfect thing to marry your business into your business model. If you're talking about how to be empowered in your home and manage your stress better, but you don't have a product that you're actually selling along with that, well, we just bring this into your business model. So being able to bring in something that's congruent with chiropractic and with the message of health and wellness. I see a lot of like mommy groups and people going and sifting through hundreds and hundreds of organic products and go, oh, these are greenwashing products and you don't want to use these and you want to use these. And it's like the tedious time that it takes just to know that we've already got a true tested backed product that's the most tested, that's the most trusted, that's the most science-backed, that you can bring into your business model. The system's already done for you, and that you're able to scale that to the next level with drop ship items. And so that's what we're helping doctors do. We're helping practitioners, especially people that are like leaving the workforce right now. So like, I don't know, how many of your watchers are nurses or people that are having to like quit their jobs because they're no longer congruent with where they're working. We're taking people into like a private practice type model, and we're helping them create dropship practices where, they're not having to put things on the shelf and stack inventory and worry about risk and expiration dates. And they're not having to worry about their own shipping department and creating product and manufacturing. Like everything is done for you. So it's just like a plug and play system. And I think it's really important for practitioners who are already busy to know that they can partner not only with a corporate team like doTERRA, but also mentors like myself that can help them easily plug it into their marketing system, into their database, and teach them how to be, how to really scale their income. And that's really what we're doing. We're teaching them how to do it, and they're getting awesome results. I've already had multiple chiropractors and practitioners on my team completely retire from practice and go completely 100% digital. And it's just been awesome to see in such a short period of time, 2 to 5 years, they're able to do this. And when you look at a lot of people, it's 40 years before they can retire or create a residual type thing. And so it's just incredible what we've been able to do.
Awesome. So the website is passivepracticeprofits.com.
Yep.
What are some other websites or resources people can go to find out more information?
So I've got my Holistic Income podcast coming, Holistic Health Income podcast. It's going to be released in the next week or two. So that'll be something you can look out for. If you want learn a little bit more about me, you can go to melodywatts.net, and I've got some great info if you want to hear my story, if you want to hear how I went, to 7 figures, what I did to build my business and how I'm mentoring others. That's a great resource as well. So passivepracticeprofits.com, melodywatts.net. are really the two biggest places to learn about how to work with me, how to mentor with me, how to coach with me. The cool thing about working with me and doTERRA is you don't have to pay coaching fees, which can be astronomical for people sometimes to learn how to take their businesses offline. But you get literally like one-on-one coaching, you get group coaching, you get mastermind coaching, and it's all totally free just because you're choosing to implement doTERRA into your business model.
I think it's brilliant, and I'm really happy to have you spend some time with us today and to talk business, because I think this is one of the elephants in the room conversations that people just don't understand, and they don't want to bridge into this conversation. And I do think that business is imperative for people to have financial safety and financial stability. So adjusting one spine at a time is awesome, but also growing the business from the database that you have access to already, and with proper coaching and doing it ethically and effectively, I think are things that people also they earn by working with you. Also, is they get somebody to help them plug into systems that are congruent with already what they're doing and learning how to help more people. And I think that that's really what this whole show's been about, is helping more people with what you have access to.
Absolutely.
Well, Melody, thank you for being our guest once again. I hope this was very valuable for anyone listening at home. And thank you for spending some time with us today.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. It was a pleasure to be with Chiro Hustle.
We'll see you in Salt Lake City soon.
Yes.
Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, all right?
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Melody. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.